interesting because this was a field that I didn't go into on purpose.
So Katelyn and Ryan are on the, I'm going to say the sustainability committee, right, for the town of Manlius specifically.
Which is awesome.
So this is town level stuff.
Big doings in Manlius.
We highlighted the project that the town has been focused on, which is a community solar project on our landfill. And it's a retired landfill that has been not in use for quite some time. And it's right next door to the town of DeWitt's landfill. And they have a solar project on their landfill. So if DeWitt can do it, we can do it. The town of Manlius doesn't have nearly as high of a load in terms of our electricity usage. So our project will be a community solar project. So people in the town and in other areas of the community could participate. They could also offset their usage from their property with the solar that's being produced on our landfill. We're actually due to hear in May if that project is due to move forward. So we'll hear from DEC in just about a month. If DeWitt is using next door to us so much electricity and they're putting it on the wires, there's simply not the space on those wires for the town of Manlius's array.
There's a transition from a centralized grid where there's massive mega power plants distributing to a distributed grid. And there's going to have to be a lot of changes to how New York moves electricity. That's part of the plan in the climate law, which is awesome. And that's great to bring up. So that transitional, what's the catchphrase now? That transitional friction that exists now, hopefully will start to dissipate as we decentralize and start to have district services more. We're experiencing this with campus work for the SUNY system, for example. A lot of campuses have their own district energy plants. So they're perfectly well suited to continue that district energy approach, which is really cool.
We just recently became a clean energy community, designated clean energy community by NYSERDA, which the Clean Energy Community Program is a state-run program that offers grants for how many actions. There's like a list of like high impact actions that the town can take. And then with those points, depending on how many points we have, we can get different types of grants. There's also grant opportunities for attached to certain actions that as long as you do that action, you can get that grant. So we completed 4 high impact actions.
God, to do a benchmarking, that's a big step for any community. Is it all doable?
It was actually pretty doable. There's this Energy Star program, and it was a lot of just I think our town clerk, right? Katelyn, is that right? Our town clerk just put our like energy bills and info into this program, and then it like pumped out reports for us. We're hoping to get those on our website soon, so people can see what our kind of baseline is.
Partnerships with college students, awesome.
We're also in the process through the Climate Smart Communities program, where we partnered with a class from ESF, I think, ESF, and they are doing a greenhouse gas inventory of the municipal buildings. So that will be coming hopefully before, probably by the end of the semester, we'll have that report.
Yeah, there's some branding confusion here.
How do you keep climate smart and how do you keep those two separate? I can never keep them apart, and I work for state government. Climate smart communities and
clean energy.
Clean energy.
We confuse them all the time. We confuse them all the time. I'm constantly being like, I swap them out and I'll get corrected. Like, no, this is climate smart. I'm like, whichever one, you know what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm talking. Like, we need a branding control to make sure that we're not confusing the issues. What aspect of sustainability excites you as an individual the most? Like, some people really love the energy geeky tracking, data. That's great. hoorah, if that's you, that's awesome. But there are other aspects to sustainability, so I didn't know if there was something else that, made you excited.
So this might sound a little strange, but so there's kind of an impending doom that you kind of feel when you think about climate change.
Yeah.
And the positive feedback loop, like currently, like every action, the ice is melting. As the ice melts, it's releasing CO2. We're still cutting down trees. The trees aren't going to take in the oxygen. Trees are burning and emitting CO2. So there's so many like
Cycle.
A positive feedback loop, is that what that's called, where we're just destroying something that's just making it worse. So that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to do something. I don't know.
Proactive, right?
Yeah.
Like you're taking steps towards resolution in the capacities that you can.
Yeah.
You're inching us through additional days.
and maybe you'll start to see truly positive feedback loops where we're making an influence that's changing how we do work. And then because we're changing how we do work, we start to see other people embracing change. And I think that could be really powerful.
Collaboration needed.
The intersectionality between different fields of study. Like, as we have learned, the scientists are not very great at telling people that climate change is actually really dangerous. They don't know how to approach it. So there's it's connected to psychology. Like, how do we tell people about this so that it doesn't influence their sense of it doesn't scare them into denial? How do we effectively communicate papers and stuff? If you have to be a good writer in order to really get the message across. And then also with systemic racism and stuff, it connects to all of these issues.
Well, it's interesting because this was a field that I didn't go into on purpose. As you both know, or as all three of you know, I have a day job where I'm not a town councilor, and I kind of fell into that role too. My first love was urban planning. I went to school for political science. I took some urban planning classes at SUNY Buffalo while I was there. And they have a great urban planning program, and that's what I wanted to do. I just loved cities. That was I love urban environments. I love urban revitalization. We've seen a lot of this in central New York and in Syracuse, and I wanted to be a part of that. I felt really passionate, and I am still extremely passionate about urban revitalization and community development. And I'm actually able now, I've really come full circle as an elected official. Ryan mentioned our comprehensive planning process. I'm actually able to do a little bit of urban planning, and it's still just something I find so fascinating, how people move around a community.
That's great.
How people interact with their community, why people are happier in certain communities, certain types of communities versus others. And the more I started thinking about walkability and about economic development and all these things, same with Ryan, it's the intersectionality of climate justice. It really does bring all these things together. And so I learned about climate justice through sustainable finance and all of it. I always just thought I'd start buying buildings and fixing them up. And Lauren and I have talked about this a lot as well, because we're both really nerdy about real estate. But I got this job at the planning board running a solarized campaign. I didn't know anything about solar. I didn't know anything about renewable energy. I didn't know anything about environmental science or climate justice. I didn't know anything about any of it. But what I said at my interview that day was, I'm really good at public speaking, and I'm really good at explaining the return on investment, because I was a financial advisor already at the time. And so that, I would say, is my favorite part about the climate justice movement and about environmental sustainability, is that once I learned about it and once I understood it, once I fell into it, I realized that my skill set and what I could do as a professional, I felt that there was no issue more important than climate justice. There's no more important cause than saving our planet. And so I feel lucky that I get to work on that every single day. And what a blessing. Like what an incredible thing. Because I can't imagine a job where I was doing something else and knowing full well that this was happening kind of right in front of me and there was nothing I could do about it.
Amplify the local impact.
Ryan came to our first Sustainable Manlius meeting. I didn't know him from Adam. And he said, I really think the town should become a climate smart community. I was like, cool, why don't you do that then? and so we're empowering younger people. And it's all of that. It's all these elements and it's all community engagement. That's the beauty of it. So it's like, it's a means to an end, but it's an end in and of itself, just working collaboratively with people in your community, doing the work. It is work. You got to do it every day.
Yeah.
But then you can actually make a difference.
You know, what's really interesting, and I'm going to kind of tie this back to one of a couple podcasts ago. It probably hasn't even really dropped yet. We had a discussion with Laura Thorne, who's like a business coach, and she does a lot of coaching, especially for students, and she gets a lot of inquiries from students. And I can't help but think that all of the people who contact me and probably you guys and definitely Laura and ask about how can I get involved in sustainability, I would love to think that they can go back to whatever town they're currently living in or any town they're from and have an impact, a genuine community impact.
And I'm very Machiavellian about this. I really don't care how you get there as long as you get there. Like,
no, that's very true.
Yeah,
that's very true. I mean, you have to actually talk to people from the understanding the position that they're in and their perspective on it. If they're struggling, for example, with asthma, then you can talk to them about the health benefits of moving away from fossil fuels. And you can talk to them about greener materials in their home and greener cleaning products in their home that would improve the air quality and help their asthma.
I ended up doing a climate summit. It was at the Manlius Library. And it was, back then I knew nothing about municipalities and I wanted the town of Manlius to become a climate smart community. But I went to the village mayor of Manlius to like figure this out. And he was like, oh yeah, I signed that, but it was for the town. I was like, oh, what's that? All right. But I was pretty ignorant. So like seeing all those people come out for that one day was like really, exciting for me to see that people actually in the community do care and that they do want to come.
Great.
It's important to talk about this. And like, if you're feeling feelings of existential dread, talk to someone about it. Like that's one of the, I think the biggest ways we can influence people and also influence votes possibly in the future as well. I feel like our school system does not do a good job of that.
Oh, I agree.
You're taught that like, you're wrong and the teacher is always right, and they don't even like one of the things that always frustrated me is they don't even have a participation in government course until your senior year of high school is really like the time. And from what I've heard, it's kind of a joke, but there's actually like so much that you can do with that. Like you can get involved in your community, and frankly I think a lot of the stuff like that I've done with Katelyn is a lot better than anything I did in school. So much time is wasted of youth with these kind of arbitrary goals like homework that some people don't need to do. Like it takes forever, but it's really not that effective, I don't think, in helping you learn when you could actually be involved in a project in the town and making a difference. And that is something that you can do.
Maybe we had a meeting last week. There was the hashtag is Make Climate a Class. So there's a whole movement going on now. Check out that hashtag, Make Climate a Class. It's about making sure that climate is actually curriculum in higher education and also in high schools. So that would be a great thing to follow, and maybe putting together a proposal for Make Climate a Class in order to connect with municipalities would be something that would be incredibly impactful for both groups. That would be really exciting to have a curriculum that's folded around working with your local municipality to do some of the first steps towards sustainability planning, such as benchmarking, or such as creating a promotion plan for the ideas behind sustainability, or doing the ROI calculations on a project. That would be amazing. I definitely, we have to give the youth a voice, a big voice. They have to be the greatest presence. I have to say that I have struggled over the last couple of years, maybe it's since my hair turned gray, that I am tired of hearing people say it's all up to the youth to solve this problem, because I'm still here and I am at my greatest capability right now. So I want to work with Ryan and with youth to bridge the gaps, to give my knowledge and my insights that relate to time to the passion and the current capabilities that they have. I think we're much more powerful together.
Yeah,
Totally.
I feel like I've heard that so many times, that it's up for the youth to solve their problems. And
Seriously, we
that's-
pissed on the planet and you guys have to clean it up. That's not fair.
This conversation represents 4 decades.
For every door I've managed to open for myself, and most of those doors required me breaking down the door, I just hold it open and I'm like, come with me. Like, and that's what I think that we have to do in the positions that we're in once we get there, is to empower younger people, to empower communities of color who have been what is the word?
Disenfranchised.
No, it's
Disenfranchised, displaced.
no, that it was in my brain.
Discounted?
No, just where they've been the proportion at which they've been affected by climate change, disproportionately. That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
Affected by climate change, and like that's allowing them to participate in the solution, or not allowing them, but helping them to be empowered to do so, because the people who have been sitting in those positions of power, one, haven't done very much, have they? And then two,
and are clueless.
Yeah, and they just want to sit there and stay in that position. So that's what I think. That's what I think the message is. It's not to like put it on youth to solve the problem, but it's to sit at the table with them and not just be like,
Yes.
hey, you can sit next to me, but you can sit at the head of the table. I want to hear what you have to say.
Distrust.
I think that we can all sense this growing sense of distrust with our government, and that even before the distrust with the government came about, there was a feeling of lack of effectiveness, meaning even if I go vote, there's not really a change that comes along with it. And so what a wonderful thing to start with, high school students, even middle school students, even before they're at the age of voting, to learn about how government works, how change can be affected, and to be a part of the voice and the change even before you're of voting age. And then getting people who are impassioned about how to make government work from a much younger age into those jobs. So not even just from a sustainability, environmental sustainability standpoint, but having kids be engaged at a much younger level than 18, because that's the day that they get to go vote, and maybe they will or maybe they won't, right?
Yeah.
Right. It actually does. It demystifies the process too. It's hard to be engaged in something that you don't understand. So if you are involved with your town, whatever the size of that town, it will start to put actual human characteristics to the face of the mayor or the face of the town council, and make it more understood. Not the respect isn't going to be automatic, but at least the ability to understand will grow.
Government in life.
And like my daughters are 10 and 7, and they went with me to knock on doors when I was running for office. They hear all of my town board meetings because I'm doing them from my kitchen. So they hear everything that we're doing. And I remember the day after I won the election in the fall of 2019, I was at the school to pick up the girls. I hadn't even seen them yet. And a friend of mine, she leaned over to her son and said, Miss Katelyn won a contest. And he was in kindergarten. He's a young kid. And I was like, Miss Katelyn did not win a contest. Miss Katelyn was in a democratic election where everyone gets to vote and to exercise their right to vote and use their voice to choose who they want to represent them in their local government. And I told him, like, you're my constituent now. So anything you need, if you ever have a problem in your community, you can let me know and I can help you. And he was like, that's so cool. And I thought, why aren't we giving our kids, this kindergartner, the benefit of the doubt? They can understand these concepts. And that's where I think we have to start treating all young people like real people.
And I think that would go a long way. One of the things that I think causes many teenagers anxiety, it did when I was a teenager, it caused my son anxiety, was being able to make decisions and have insights and having no ability to be heard. And if there were a connection to how the community worked, there would be a vehicle for being heard and an inherent value placed on that teenager. And that's something that's missing throughout our entire American culture, is respect for teens in particular.
Climate change and voting.
Voting and participating in your local government is one of the most effective ways to combat climate change in this country, because so much of this is good policy. Like we talked about it earlier, and I meant to kind of circle back around to it, but you mentioned the buildings that didn't have the financial resources that they needed to make these energy improvements.
Right.
Joe, that is that can be addressed by policy.
The body politic.
We need to get rid of that word politics. We need to get rid of the idea that it's us, them. We need to realize that the political structure, especially in a town or a community, a village, a city, has to be fed by the ideas of the people of that town. And that's not political. That's community. Hi, Kitty.
All right,
starring in our show.
How many kitties? But no, I mean a good government and like I don't call myself a politician. I refer to myself as an elected official, because I have to get elected, but it's not about the politics of it. It's about good governing when I get there.
I would like to remind people who are watching this to go to Sustainable Manlius's website, which you can find. You can just find by searching up Sustainable Manlius.
All right, it's hero time. Who's your hero?
What about Peter?
That's what I was about to get at. I don't know if I consider him my hero, but I'm definitely really grateful to him for he really helped me launch. I started homeschooling the middle of my junior year because of all the educational system problems.
Right.
And at that point, my grandfather took me to I was already interested in climate change. I was doing the club at the school, but he took me to a conference at SUNY New Paltz conference, where I met people, the group called the Student Climate Coalition that I've been involved in, and that's how I got connected really with a lot of youth who were also actively doing things and at less of a dead end than we were at FM with the administration. So that was really encouraging for me, and that really was one of my launching points. It ended up giving me an opportunity to attend the Drawdown Learn conference. So I'm really grateful for my grandfather for taking me to that, and then also for being involved in so many environmental activities as well. He's part of he works with Rotary on their environmental committee. He's joined Sustainable Manlius, so he was there with me on that first day, and he's super educated on a ton of different issues, especially sustainable agriculture.
Good.
So that I guess I'm really grateful for him for that.
That's awesome. That's excellent. Because if anything, any kind of climate action, thoughtfulness about our shared future should be cross-generational. I mean, oh my God, we really need those insights, right?
I guess it's not a hero in terms of a specific person. For a long time, I was just kind of working on my own. and things were really, it was just a job a lot of the time. But I have felt in the last 18 months, I think since I ran for office, this sense of like collaboration, this sense of like people positively working together to get things done. Like running for office with the team that I ran with, and we were all just so supportive of each other. And then sometimes we'd get mad at each other and yell at each other, but then we'd forgive each other, we'd grow from it, we'd learn, and we would disagree but respect each other. And I have found that spirit of collaboration, of honesty, of working towards a goal in sustainable Manlius. In my campaign to get reelected, I have this incredible team of young people who are in high school, college, or recent college grads, and the ideas that they come up with, it's energizing. So I feel inspired by energy in all these different places that I'm working. And I feel like the country as a whole is really starting finally to move in the right direction after 4 years of just feeling like crap. It's just really nice to be able to discuss, well, is Joe Biden going to do that tax credit? Do you think he's going to make it better, even more? Like it's that I feel that's what's inspiring me, that we can actually be working together positively, collaborating honestly, and working towards this goal.
Fantastic. Spirit of collaboration. That's exceptional.
Thanks for joining us for Subject to Change, a sustainability podcast.
We're heading in a right direction. I am cautiously optimistic that we might just save this planet after all.
I love it.
Well, there's the end note.
Yeah.
I am cautiously optimistic that we might save this planet after all.
Yep. Cut it. We're done. Good night. Thanks so much, everybody.
Awesome.
It was great to meet you.
Bye.
Caitlin, I'll see you soon.
Great to meet you.
Yeah.
Bye. Great to meet
Bye,
you.
guys.
Take care.
Bye.